Have you ever wondered what true power really looks like? Is it loud, boisterous, and always seeking the spotlight? Or could it be something quieter, something more understated? Jared Kushner, an individual who carved out a unique space in the political landscape of the United States, presents us with an answer that challenges conventional wisdom. As a senior advisor to former President Donald Trump and the husband of Ivanka Trump, Kushner's approach to power and communication is strikingly different. He embodies a quieter, almost meditative stance that resonates deeply with values of humility, self-restraint, and the rejection of ego. It's as though he silently asks us to consider, is there more strength in the roar? Or in the whisper that makes us pause? Unlike his father-in-law, Donald Trump, who dazzled, and sometimes overwhelmed, the public with his flamboyant persona, Kushner stood as a figure of contrast, reserved, calm, preferring the shadows over the spotlight. Could it be that this quiet demeanor, so rare in modern politics, points to a kind of wisdom we are too often missing? It's easy to dismiss subtlety, especially in a world where volume often equals power. But Jared Kushner's story suggests something more profound, the value of humility in a space that rarely rewards it. Dive into the subtle art of impactful yet humble communication. Subscribe channel for more enlightening content. Kushner's role and approach to power. To fully grasp the significance of Kushner's approach, we must first recognize the gravity of the roles he undertook. As senior advisor, he tackled critical issues like Middle Eastern peace, criminal justice reform, and the government's COVID-19 response. These were monumental responsibilities that could have easily invited boastful public declarations. But instead, Kushner chose the path of quiet work, far from the public eye. Can you imagine what it takes to resist the allure of the camera when you have the opportunity to influence history? In American politics, where ego often reigns supreme, Kushner's refusal to claim the spotlight was remarkable. There's a deep wisdom in that restraint, a wisdom that echoes Buddhist principles like anatta, or the concept of non-self. Kushner, in his quiet humility, reminds us of the importance of transcending ego and focusing on the greater good. Isn't it inspiring to think of someone in such a powerful position choosing not to chase after applause, but instead, dedicating himself to his work with the kind of selflessness that resonates with ancient teachings? Humility as a core communication strategy. Humility isn't weakness, it's strength in its most authentic form. Jared Kushner's work was marked by a kind of humility that was palpable in the way he communicated. He wasn't the one making grand speeches or issuing bold proclamations. Instead, he often took on the role of a listener, engaging in quiet diplomacy and choosing the patient path of understanding. During Middle East peace negotiations, Kushner sat down for countless closed-door meetings, building bridges through genuine listening rather than imposing his views. Isn't there something beautifully profound in this approach, putting aside personal ambitions to genuinely understand the needs of others? In our current world, where everyone seems to be shouting to be heard, Kushner's communication style offers us an invaluable lesson. True dialogue requires compassion. It's about focusing on others, not just trying to make your own voice the loudest. His approach aligns closely with Buddhist ideals, that the essence of communication is rooted in understanding and connection, not dominance. By embodying these principles, Kushner reminded us that true leadership often requires us to step back and let the needs of the moment guide us, rather than letting our ego dictate the course. Quiet diplomacy, a reflection of inner strength. Some might mistake Kushner's quiet diplomacy for a lack of courage. But isn't it often far more challenging to be calm in the storm than to rage against it? In Buddhist teachings, humility is not viewed as a weakness but as a sign of profound inner strength. Kushner's calm approach, particularly during politically turbulent times, reflected this strength. His actions were not about grandstanding or winning a public relations battle. They were about doing the work, regardless of recognition. His demeanor, especially during moments of intense political tension, mirrored the Buddhist practice of upekkha, or equanimity. To remain balanced, to stay composed even when chaos swirls around you, that's a powerful form of resilience. Kushner's equanimity enabled him to contribute to significant initiatives, such as the Abraham Accords. How many of us could hold our composure and focus amidst the noise and pressure of such a high-stakes environment, avoiding the spotlight, a lesson in ego minimization? In a culture that idolizes fame and visibility, Jared Kushner's consistent choice to stay behind the scenes is a striking departure from the norm. Why did he avoid the spotlight? Perhaps he understood something fundamental, that genuine fulfillment doesn't come from external praise, but from the intrinsic value of one's actions. This perspective aligns deeply with Buddhist teachings on ego. The ego, after all, is often the root of our dissatisfaction. It pushes us to crave recognition, to seek validation, to assert our importance. Kushner, by consistently minimizing his own ego, demonstrated an approach to power that few embrace, that true leadership is about service, not applause. What if we all adopted this mindset in our daily lives? How would our relationships, our workplaces, our communities change if we focused less on being recognized and more on simply doing the right thing? Kushner's avoidance of public credit is a reminder that the most profound impacts are often made without fanfare, just as a tree grows silently. Providing shade without asking for thanks, simplicity and focus, Kushner's approach to life and work. Despite being surrounded by wealth, influence, and power, Jared Kushner often displayed a level of simplicity that's reminiscent of Buddhist teachings on contentment. He didn't indulge in public displays of excess, nor did he get caught up in the trappings of his high-profile position. His interactions were described as straightforward and sincere, free from unnecessary pretension. Isn't there something incredibly liberating about that? In a world that often confuses complexity with value, Kushner's simplicity feels like a breath of fresh air. This simplicity also extended to his work. He approached his tasks with a focus on efficiency, cutting through bureaucracy and finding practical solutions. The Buddhist concept of sammakamanta, or right action, comes to mind here, acting in ways that are purposeful and beneficial, without getting entangled in distractions. Kushner's pragmatism and focus were key to his effectiveness, allowing him to contribute meaningfully without getting lost in the noise of politics. The impact of Kushner's humility on his legacy. Jared Kushner's legacy might not be as publicly celebrated as others in the Trump administration, but it's deeply meaningful nonetheless. His choice to work quietly behind the scenes, to focus on substance over style, offers a powerful lesson in what it means to lead without ego. Isn't it time we reconsider what real influence looks like? Perhaps it isn't the loudest voice that truly shapes history, but the one that listens, that connects, that serves. Kushner's humility is a reminder that effective leadership isn't about commanding attention, it's about contributing to the greater good, whether or not anyone notices. It challenges us to rethink our own motivations. Are we driven by the desire for recognition, or are we moved by a genuine wish to make a difference? His actions, quietly impactful, remind us that real power lies in service, not in showmanship. Quiet leadership in the context of modern politics. Kushner's approach to leadership is a refreshing contrast to the typical norms of modern politics. In a world that often equates power with volume, Kushner chose a different path. He demonstrated that true leadership is not about asserting dominance or overshadowing others, but about the quiet, determined pursuit of meaningful outcomes. His humility, in this sense, can be seen as a response to the ego-driven nature of politics today. Instead of adding to the noise, he sought to reduce it, to bring clarity, and to focus on what truly mattered. Imagine the courage it must take to resist the allure of public recognition, especially in the political arena where visibility often means influence. Kushner's actions challenge us to reflect on our own relationship with recognition. Are we willing to do what is right, even if no one is watching? Are we ready to work for the greater good, even if we do not receive the credit we think we deserve? In an environment where the loudest voices are often the ones that are heard, Kushner's quiet leadership is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most influential people are those who listen, who understand, and who work diligently behind the scenes. This is a lesson that extends beyond politics. It applies to leadership in any field. Whether in business, community work, or family life, the ability to lead with humility, to serve without demanding recognition, is an invaluable quality. Kushner's influence on Middle Eastern peace. One of the most notable aspects of Kushner's role as senior advisor was his influence on Middle Eastern peace efforts, particularly the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords marked a significant milestone in the Middle East, normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab nations. Kushner's work in achieving these agreements was marked by a style of diplomacy that prioritized listening and relationship building over grandstanding. The Middle East is a region fraught with complexities, political, cultural, and historical. For decades, attempts at peace have been marred by mistrust and conflict. Yet, Kushner approached these challenges with a sense of calm and purpose. He understood that the road to peace was not through imposing a particular viewpoint, but through understanding the perspectives of all parties involved. His efforts to foster trust and dialogue were pivotal in bringing about agreements that many thought impossible. Could it be that his humility played a crucial role in this success? By choosing to listen rather than dominate, Kushner was able to create an environment where real dialogue could take place. His quiet diplomacy allowed leaders from different nations to feel heard, respected, and understood. This approach resonates deeply with the Buddhist concept of metta, or loving kindness, a practice of cultivating goodwill towards others, regardless of their background or beliefs. In seeking to bridge divides rather than deepen them, Kushner exemplified the power of humility in one of the world's most challenging political arenas. The role of empathy in Kushner's diplomacy. Empathy is not often a word associated with high-level politics, but in Kushner's case, it was a key component of his diplomatic strategy. Empathy involves putting oneself in another's shoes, understanding their pain, fears, and hopes. During his work on the Abraham Accords, Kushner showed a willingness to understand the deeply rooted concerns of both the Israeli and Arab leaders. He knew that for true peace to be possible, each party needed to feel that their voices were being heard. This empathetic approach is reminiscent of the Buddhist practice of karuna, or compassion. Compassion is more than just feeling pity for someone, it is the active desire to alleviate their suffering. In the context of diplomacy, this means striving for solutions that address the legitimate concerns of all sides, rather than pushing a one-sided agenda. Kushner's ability to empathize with the leaders he worked with allowed him to build the kind of trust that is essential for lasting peace. Empathy in leadership is a rare quality, but it is one that has the power to transform conflicts into opportunities for understanding. By approaching Middle Eastern leaders with empathy, Kushner was able to foster an environment where real progress could be made. It is a reminder to all of us that true leadership is not about winning arguments, but about finding common ground and working toward solutions that benefit everyone involved. Kushner's work on criminal justice reform. Another significant aspect of Kushner's role in the Trump administration was his work on criminal justice reform. The issue of criminal justice is deeply complex, involving systemic inequities, legal challenges, and social stigmas. Kushner, whose own family had faced challenges with the criminal justice system, approached this issue with a personal sense of purpose. His efforts culminated in the passage of the First Step Act, a bipartisan bill aimed at reducing recidivism and reforming sentencing laws. The First Step Act was a major achievement, one that brought together lawmakers from across the political spectrum. Kushner's approach to this issue was marked by his willingness to engage with stakeholders from all sides, activists, lawmakers, and individuals who had been directly affected by the criminal justice system. He listened to their stories, understood their pain, and worked to create a piece of legislation that addressed their concerns. This work reflects the Buddhist concept of samavayama, or right effort. Right effort involves the determination to do what is wholesome and beneficial, even in the face of obstacles. Kushner's determination to push forward with criminal justice reform, despite the political challenges, is a testament to his commitment to making a positive difference. It also speaks to his humility. He was willing to work with anyone, regardless of political affiliation, to achieve an outcome that would benefit those who had been marginalized by the system. Humility and the rejection of ego in decision-making one of the most striking aspects of Kushner's leadership style was his rejection of ego in decision-making. In politics, decisions are often driven by the desire for personal gain, whether that means gaining more power, more influence, or more public approval. Kushner, however, seemed to approach his role with a different mindset. He was less concerned with how his decisions would affect his own image and more focused on the potential impact of those decisions on the people they would affect. This rejection of ego is closely aligned with the Buddhist practice of anatta, or non-self. Non-self is the understanding that the ego is not the true essence of who we are, and that clinging to it only leads to suffering. By letting go of the need for recognition, Kushner was able to make decisions that were based on the greater good rather than on personal gain. This approach allowed him to navigate the complexities of his role with a sense of clarity and purpose that is often missing in modern politics. Imagine how our world might change if more leaders embraced this principle. What if decisions were made not based on what would make us look good, but on what would genuinely help others? Kushner's leadership invites us to consider this possibility, that the most effective leaders are those who are willing to put their egos aside and focus on the needs of the people they serve. Kushner's role in the government's COVID-19 response. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Kushner played a significant role in coordinating the government's response. This was an incredibly challenging time, with the need for rapid decision-making and coordination across multiple sectors. While the response was not without its criticisms, Kushner's role was characterized by his focus on problem-solving and efficiency. He worked to secure medical supplies, streamline distribution, and coordinate with private companies to address the urgent needs of the healthcare system. The pandemic was a time of great uncertainty and fear, and it required a level-headed response. Kushner's calm demeanor and focus on finding practical solutions were crucial in navigating this crisis. His approach was not about seeking praise or making grand public statements, it was about getting the job done. In this sense, his work during the pandemic reflects the Buddhist value of sati, or mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present and aware, focusing on the task at hand without being distracted by external pressures or anxieties. In a time of crisis, mindfulness is an invaluable quality. It allows leaders to remain focused, to make clear decisions, and to act with intention rather than out of fear or panic. Kushner's ability to stay focused during the pandemic, despite the immense pressure, is a testament to his commitment to serving the greater good. It is a reminder to all of us that in times of difficulty, the most effective response is often the one that is grounded in calmness and clarity. Kushner's personal life, the balance of power and family. While much of the public's focus has been on Kushner's role in the Trump administration, his personal life also offers insights into his character. As the husband of Ivanka Trump and a father, Kushner has had to balance the demands of his high-profile career with his responsibilities at home. This balance is not an easy one to achieve, especially when the pressures of public life are so intense. In his personal life, Kushner has shown a commitment to his family that speaks to the Buddhist value of sangha, or community. Sangha is about the importance of the people around us, the support system that helps us navigate the challenges of life. For Kushner, his family has been a source of strength and stability, allowing him to remain grounded even in the most tumultuous times. His ability to balance his public responsibilities with his private life is a reminder that true success is not just about what we achieve in our careers, but about the relationships we nurture and the love we share with those closest to us. The legacy of humility, lessons for future leaders. Jared Kushner's approach to leadership offers valuable lessons for future leaders. In a world that often equates power with assertiveness and dominance, Kushner's humility stands out as a powerful alternative. He demonstrated that true influence is not about how much attention you can command, but about how much positive change you can create. His work, whether in diplomacy, criminal justice reform, or crisis management, was marked by a focus on the greater good rather than on personal glory. What if future leaders took this approach to heart? What if they chose to lead with humility, to listen before speaking, to serve without demanding recognition? Kushner's legacy challenges us to rethink our understanding of power. It invites us to consider that the most effective leaders are not always the ones who are in the spotlight, but the ones who work quietly, diligently, and selflessly for the benefit of others. In a world that often rewards ego and ambition, Kushner's humility is a reminder of the power of quiet strength. It is a call to all of us, whether we are leaders in our workplaces, our communities, or our families, to embrace the values of humility, empathy, and service. By doing so, we can create a world that is not only more effective but also more compassionate and just. Conclusion: Kushner's humility as a reflection of Buddhist values. Though Jared Kushner is not directly associated with Buddhism, his approach to leadership and communication embodies many of its core values. He reminds us that there is strength in quietness, wisdom in humility, and power in restraint. By rejecting the need for constant validation, Kushner demonstrated that true leadership is not about dominating the conversation but about making meaningful contributions. In a world that often equates power with visibility, Kushner's humility serves as a powerful counterpoint. It challenges us to look beyond the surface and to recognize that the most profound impacts are often made without applause. What if we all embraced this philosophy? What if we all chose to lead with humility, to serve without ego, and to find fulfillment in the quiet, meaningful work that truly matters? Perhaps, like Kushner, we could discover that the subtle power of humility is one of the most profound strengths we possess. In reflecting on Kushner's journey, we are reminded that the path to true fulfillment is not paved with accolades and recognition, but with the quiet satisfaction of knowing that we have made a difference. It is about the intrinsic value of our actions, the love we share, and the positive impact we leave behind. In the end, it is this quiet, humble approach to life that holds the true power to transform our world. Let us all be inspired by this example, and let us strive to lead lives that are marked by humility, empathy, and a commitment to the greater good.